we'll move into curtsy squats. So we'll do it together. As you inhale, expand and squat. Come back up, right leg behind, and we do a little curtsy. Take it all as low as you can. Come back, squat, curtsy, squat, curtsy. We'll do one more. Squat, curtsy. As you come back, keep your squat, but pivot your left toes in for standing. So squat. Hinge off to the left side, hand to hip. Peace fingers to the big toes, or just take the knee. But the knee is out to the right, okay? So if you're keeping the knee, keep it, that's great. If you're extending, extend. Maybe you release the arm and hover and hold. And if you can, you set your drishti to the left. Now right here, whatever shape you're in, may I meet this moment fully, and may I meet it as a friend. Last one like that. Lower the leg mindfully, nice and wide. Pivot both toes, parallel feet, hands at the hips. Roll shoulders up and back. Release hands behind you, right thumb on top. Shrug shoulders. Then exhale, hinge forward. Now pay attention to shoulders here, because if they don't like this shape, you'll leave your hands right at the sacrum, so we don't lift up. But if your shoulders feel as if they warmed up enough, and you think you'd like to take the hands off of the lower back, just move nice and mindfully, paying attention with each breath. And add your prayer. It's an amazing, beautiful life prayer. May I meet this moment fully, and may I meet it as a friend. So it makes us accept what's happening at this moment, and it gives us that opportunity to clear the mind to respond with benevolence. We'll take one more. Now come up just halfway. Release the left hand under the chin, and we'll take a twist to the right. Lifting up. Hand comes back down. Hands to hips. Inhale, lift back up. Arms come with you. Pivot to your right. Inhale, lift. Exhale, stretch. Coming down with flat back, we try to let the pinky fingers touch, and then see if your head can go between the arms. If that's not happening, that's perfectly fine. You take your blocks and push into the floor and see if that helps you. You can be high on the block or low on the block. The idea is to allow the arms to hover on the outside of the head. One more nice big stretch here. Now let's move this into revolve triangle. Again, you may want your block on the left side, so it can be inside or outside the foot, or maybe no block at all. And if you don't have a block, but you feel you need it, just lift your hand up to the shin. Twisting to the right, pulling the right hip crease back, and lifting the hip up. So in other words, that right hip wants to sag. Lift it up as you twist to the right, stacking right shoulder on top of left. Now take a visual here. See yourself in this shape and standing for dancing Shiva. And you don't have to ever take that. We'll all meet around this place. So dancing Shiva, it's either the whole leg or just the knee. Coming up to standing, twisting to the right. Ideally, drishti goes to the right. If it's super easy, you let the foot go. So if you were not in dancing Shiva, just come up to standing. Everybody unfurl. Right leg is lifted. Hinge forward, warrior three. Keeping left foot looking down, internal rotation. Nice flat spine. One more breath. And dive it down, standing splits. Left leg to the sky. So we'll hover here for about a minute, maybe two. If you like, you can just stay and play with whatever you want to do in standing splits. If you want to practice calf raises, the calf raises are so good with this leg up, really isolating that right calf. Or maybe today you want handstand practice, kicking up. We'll play for another about 5 breaths. This is my rest time. It's hard for me to talk and demonstrate. That's why I have to show it once and then let you guys do it on your own. Okay, let's take just a couple more breaths, a couple more kicks if you're kicking, a couple more lifts if you're lifting with your calf. I will meet up in standing splits. Let the leg go. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hinge forward. Come back up to standing and add a little back bend here. Just open up the backside. Coming to standing, hands at the hips, separate the feet. Roll the shoulders up and back, pull the belly in. Hinge forward. Let's go ahead and step on the palms here. And give the wrists a nice little break, especially if you were doing handstand. This feels really good. See if you can let the head drop and then hinge forward into the toes. Of course, as always, you do want to have a quick exit plan where you can pull the hands out real fast if you start to fall. But again, we're pretty close to the ground as it is if we do fall. All right, let's come back to center. Releasing the hands, come up halfway. Exhale, step or hop it back. Flow straight through or hang out in plank. Lift your beautiful heart, just come all the way up. And then back, downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. All right, coming down to all fours. No cat-cows this time. We just start right in that hovering place. Let me go this side. And from here, wide knees, hinge forward, chaturanga, come back, pivot toes to the right, left leg comes underneath. Come back, all fours hovering, wide knees, chaturanga, lift back up, pivot toes to the right, left leg extends. One more, we come back hovering, wide knees, come forward, chaturanga, lift back up, pivot toes to the right, extend left leg, open up. Then come back from here, just hover, lift up, downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Come forward into plank pose. Hook left toes on top. 15 seconds of push-ups. Let's go. Starting right now. And 3, 2, 1. Let's take it all the way down. Release the leg. Roll the shoulders up and back. Come back up. And again, we'll add the serpentine. Twisting right, left, left, right, lowering down. And then take it back up. And lift back up, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Left leg lifts. Pass it through. Pivot all the way to your right. Coming down, yogic squat. All right, we'll do our plie curtsies with the left leg. So once you're in your squat, it's a big inhale, expand. Left leg comes behind, we curtsy. So you're dropping all the way down to left knee. Come back up, expand. Left leg curtsy. Expand. Left leg curtsy. One more. Open up, curtsy, and then come right back. Now keep the squat. Pivot your right toes in for standing. Right hand can be at the hip. And we come up to standing. Left knee or peace fingers to the big toe. But we're out towards the left. All right, find your stability. Decide what you're going to do. If you're extending, extend. Maybe you take your drishti to the right side. And if it's a knee, that's perfect. You can still practice switching your drishti to the right side. Take another breath. Great. Lower the leg. Pivot both toes forward. Roll shoulders up and back. Hands behind you. Left thumb on top. And again, there's a little shoulder roll. Take it up and back. Now hinge forward. Pay close attention to the shoulders. You might just want to stay like this and allow the hands to stay right at the sacrum area. Drop the head. Shake a yes and no. Shift weight into the toes. But if you are playing with lifting, go mindfully, nice and slowly. We just lift the arms with each breath a little bit. And then in that movement, trying to connect to your wisdom, your innate knowledge. May I meet this moment fully, and may I meet it as a friend. All right, make your way up halfway. We'll release the hands. Right hand right under the chin line, left hand at the hip. Twist open to your left, finding whatever shape feels good. So I didn't mention this on the other side, but those of you who've taken my class enough, you know that after you twist and find that isolation of the spine, sometimes it feels good to give the hips a little love too by pushing your hips to the left. You just have to pay close attention. Sometimes the back doesn't like that, and oftentimes if you go too fast, you learn too late that the back didn't like that. So go mindfully and slowly, whatever you're doing, working with connection with the breath. All right, last one. Come back, hands to hips, little acclimating breath. Inhale, lift up, arms come with you. Pivot over the left leg. Big inhale here. Exhale, stretch. And as we stretch, pull left hip crease back and see if you can lift it up a little bit. So once you get your arms either to the floor or blocks, see if you can dip the head between the arms. It's a very nice shoulder stretch, opening up into the pectoral muscles, so as well as getting into the hamstring. Take one more. If you have your block for revolved triangle, it goes into the right hand. Twisting open to the left again, stacking shoulders, pulling left hip crease back. And ideally, the drishti's up to the left fingertips, but a lot of times that's too tweaky on the neck, so feel free to just leave it down. But find your breath, find knowledge with the breath, and know that this breathing connection is what taps us into our innate knowledge. It takes us into that higher transcending place, the Jhana chakra, where we see truth and we see clearly. All right, now visualize yourself in that standing shape. It's exactly the same. It's just that we're in a standing shape. And again, those who are not standing, you'll meet us for that warrior three. So we hinge back, either knee or foot lifts up, twisting to the left. If it's super easy, let your drishti go to the left hand. And then if that's super easy, you let the foot go and just hover and hold. Now we'll unfurl, and anyone who is still down, meet us in this warrior three. Left leg is extended, point the toe. Hinge forward, tilting body down. Leave the right toes looking down. Internal rotation in the right thigh. Take another big breath here. And then dive it down, standing splits. Right leg up, left leg down. I'll offer the same thing we offered on the first side. So maybe you just want to hang out. Maybe you're practicing bent leg or balancing. Option 2, calf raises. And option 3, handstand, maybe at the wall or at your mat. But you handstanders, here's a good thing to think about. You've already got the right leg lifted. So instead of whatever your regular kick-up leg is, leave the right leg up and just see if you can add the left leg. So the right leg's already up, right? So I'm just going to do little tiny hops, and then on one of them, I'm just going to draw the left leg to meet the right. And play with that for another couple of breaths. Okay. All right, let's take it down. Release everything. Forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, step or hop it back. Last vinyasa in standing. Once you get up, make your way down to seated. Extended legs. Now let's start with Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet come together. And just see how this is feeling after that nice warm up. If you need to have something under the seat, please do. And then check into both legs. just take a mental note. I always like to do this in front of a mirror. I notice that 9 out of 10 times my left knee is higher than my right. It's just a good thing to take note of. And then for me personally, I will roll that left inner thigh, and it seems to help. So there's a connection. I think we talked about this in class a couple weeks ago. If your inner thigh is super tight, that's going to have an undue pull on the outer hip, and it will obviously lift the knee up. Sometimes when we think we've got hip pain, it's a good idea to look at the opposite side and see what's going on. Roll the shoulders up and back, inhale. And on the out breath, hinge forward. Use the floor to resist. Just finding that place where you can go where the sitting bones stay on the floor. Working with each breath. Man, meet this moment fully. And man, meet it as a friend. Come on, back up. Extend the legs long. And we'll move into a wide-legged forward fold. Pulling the toes back so the pinky toes come to connect to the hips and the big toes come to connect to the inner thigh groin area. Roll the shoulders up and back, pull the belly in, and then walk forward. So same thing as always applies here. We don't want to over roll and let the sitting bones come up. So we use the floor to resist. And if you're having trouble and you're on your sacrum, so it'd be the opposite, either lift up with a blanket or a bolster or a block, or just bend the knees, working into a narrower gap. And just see if you can start there. Wherever you are, take one more big breath. And coming up, we'll just do a quick little twist over each leg. So big inhale here. Block can be inside on the right side to rest your hand on or not. And we start to hinge over the right leg. Now just be mindful that we haven't allowed this left hip to come up. Okay? So plant the hand, lift up, look underneath left armpit. Come on back up. Lift up again. We'll do opposite side. Left hand down. Watch that right hip. It's almost a big twist to the right as you reach over. And then make your way back up. All right, so we'll get into some twisting here. This is a nice, fun little sequence here. Coming up, pull the pinky toes back. Lift your heart, big inhale here, and as you exhale, hinge forward, peace, fingers to the big toe. As always, stop along the way if they don't meet. Inhale, half lift, exhale, hinge. Let the elbows come out to the side, and find your best forward fold for right now. So meeting every experience, every situation as it is, accepting it, and then responding with benevolence. So like today, if your hamstrings don't feel very open, then what you're used to is this big, deep forward fold. Maybe today it's half a forward fold. And maybe the opposite is true. Maybe today, for whatever reason, your hamstrings are wide open. Meeting each situation as it is with benevolence. Come on up. Walk your hands behind you. Either point the toes or bend the knees for Parivartanasana. So just stretching front side. And make your way back down. I'm taking the right leg in for Janu Sirsasana. Big inhale to lift up, slight shift to the left, exhale, hinge forward. Stretching over the whole left side. And working with breath. Inhale, and exhale. And take one more. I will either repeat the Janu Sirsasana, or if your leg moves into half lotus, let's try that. So in a forward fold with half lotus, it's a great idea to try to get the pinky side of the foot right in that hip flexor crease, because that little arch in your foot is just enough that you can fold over it. So pulling left toes back, inhale, lift. Take the hands behind you. We'll interlace right thumb on top as you open up, and on the out breath, hinge forward. And again, we play with the hands here. So it may be best to just leave the hands as they are. But as you take each breath, you may find that you're able to lift the arms up. Be mindful because they'll be a little bit wobbly because we're not using the hands to support us. 2 more breaths. Okay, let's scooch the right foot down so it's right above the knee on the left side, figure 4. Gently encourage the right knee open and away. Big lift in the spine, still keeping the left foot active. Twist to your left, looking over left shoulder. Inhale and exhale. And come back to center. Let's take a little tiny forward fold here. Opening up into that right hip. Whole left hamstring. Even up into the left glute. Come back up, take left knee with you. Shoot the gap with the right hand if you're able, and lift tall in the spine. So what I'd like to focus on in this set right here, because in the next position we're going to want this, is drawing the right shin into the chest. So with each breath, play with what it feels like. If it feels good and you think you can start to draw in closer, go ahead. Walk yourself in closer, right shin coming to the chest. And from here, we'll take a twist to the left. So most of us will twist just like this, leaving the hand inside. I know we did grasshopper pose the other day. It's very much like that. If you're able to, you draw the arm outside so it's actually resting on the foot. So either one is good. We'll hinge back a little bit. So if my hand's inside, I'm just going to take the pinky side of the foot and lift up like this, and there's my twist. Awesome. If you're able to, the hand stays outside, and it's the same thing. We lift up, left hand twist. So some of you, I know, will want the bind. So it would look like this. You'll lift up, left arm comes behind as if to grab the right thigh. Looking over left shoulder, finding a place to breathe, and add your prayer. May I meet this moment fully, and may I meet it as a friend. If you can meet this as a friend, you can meet any situation as a friend. All right, let's come back, unfurl everything, extend the legs out, shake them. If you have another vinyasa in you, go for it. Always good to do an extra one. Just to keep the heart rate up, keep the body nice and warm. We all meet back here. Draw the legs in. Baddha Konasana, second set. And again, this is up to you. You can just hinge forward or you can lift up. Finding the balancing pose here. Softness in the breath. Breathing in your prayer. If you were up, lower down. We all meet on the floor. Take one more. Lift up. Extend legs long. Same thing for this. We either come right into our forward fold or we take the balancing pose. So it's less of a forward fold, but you get to work stabilizers. Pulling the toes back, letting the heels be the furthest thing away. Either way, floor or lifted, we lift the kneecaps. Open up. Okay, so lifted people, really pull those toes back so when you land, your heels don't touch. Everything else touches before that, and then find your forward fold. Make your way back up. Extend legs long. Pull the toes back. Inhale, roll shoulders. Exhale, slide the hands down, coming on top of the toes if you're able. If not, you just stop along the way. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hinge forward. Work with your breath. Work with your prayer. May I meet this moment fully, and may I meet it as a friend. Walk yourself back up. Again, we either point the toes and lift up, or we do half purva. Just stretching the front side. Come on back up. Maybe give your wrists a little bit of love. All right. Left leg in. Janu Shirshasana. Inhale, lift. Slight shift to the right. Exhale, hinge. So what Sylvia Boorstein says is the idea of this repetitive nature starts to build into you. So when you leave this class, my hope is that you get in the car and you get your first traffic jam that we haven't had for months now, which has been nice, but we will get them back. That you can sit there and say, may I meet this situation, this experience fully, and may I meet it as a friend, so that you can constantly be finding benevolence in everything you do. Lift back up. Let's find that half lotus. So again, we want the razor edge of the foot, the pinky side, to come right into the hip crease. Gently encourage left knee away. Pull right toes back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hinge. I want to add the hands. So let's come up halfway and we'll add the hands. So take the hands behind you, left thumb on top, roll shoulders back, and then lift up. And again, it could be a little precarious in that we don't have the hands to balance us. So go mindfully. Don't even think of lifting the arms off of the sacrum if it hurts your shoulders. And we want to try to lift only if we can keep everything else with integrity. That would be active legs, not wobbling too much, that is. And then come on back. Now just slide the left foot down. So we're in figure 4. Gently encourage knee open. Big inhale to lift. Exhale, let's twist to the right. Looking over right shoulder. Come on back to center. Let's take one little forward fold here. Just hinging. Letting that left glute really work open. And in this side, I also feel it in the glute on this side too. On the right side. All right, make your way back up. Just slide the leg. So we're into the bent knee. And then we have to be mindful that we don't pull in so much that we look like this, where we're rounding up into a little ball and rolling onto the sacrum. So start far away, shoot the gap with left hand, lift up, find tall spine. Then if you're able, we start to walk in a little closer. And again, just to reiterate what I said on the last side, ideally we're trying to pull the left shin up to the chest. As you know now, in that next position, we need that shape. So working with that breath, going nice and mindfully to see how it feels. Okay, so we'll start to make our twist to the right. Releasing the right hand, the left hand. So as I said before, this may be the best twist right here. The left arm just stays on top of that left shin and you twist and maybe you get hold of the foot. Perfect place, maybe you lift up. But I know some of you are able to take the arm to the outside and still keep integrity in the chest area and then lift up. So the right shin comes parallel to the floor, right arm parallel, left arm parallel, looking over right shoulder. If you're binding, wrap around as if to take hold of this left thigh. Ideally one day, if you have a long enough arm, that arm will come and take that shin, the left shin, but that's another story. All right, take another breath wherever you are. Let it all go, unfurl, shake it out. Leaning back, we move right into boat pose. Lifting up, hovering and hold. And this is where if you have your blocks, it may be nice. When you come down from your boat pose, cross your ankles. See if you can lift up, maybe hinge. Come right back. A little tiny lower boat pose. Softness in the breath. Inhale, may I meet this moment fully. Exhale, may I meet it with benevolence or as a friend. Come on up. Blocks if you're using them. Cross the ankles. Lift whatever you can. Last one, we come down. And this one, we work just the legs and shoulders off the mat. So nothing else. Full abdominal boat pose. Now scoop up, come up. Instead of lifting this time the way we do on that one, have your blocks handy if you have them. And if not, you don't need the blocks for this. If you can make your way into full lotus, let's do that. And if not, that's fine too. But we're going to take the blocks very close to the hips, if not under, if you're working with blocks. And if not, hands come underneath. Ready for 40 Kapalabatis. First we inhale here. Then we exhale. Not just half an inhale. Push down to lift up and go. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it all go. Clearing your mat. Releasing the feet, moving into bridge pose. Walking heels close to hips, flip the palms. Gently tuck the pelvis under. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down and untuck at the last moment. We'll do 2 more like that. Inhale, lift up. May I meet this moment fully. Exhale, lower down, and may I meet it as a friend. 1 more, lifting up. And lowering down. All right. If you use a block for holding bridge pose, go ahead and grab it. You can feel free to take just the lowest, medium, or the high. If you're doing the high, you might just be able to hold bridge pose on your own. Finding a way to walk the arms underneath the corresponding shoulders. Pay close attention to the neck. If anything feels crunchy in the neck, best to come down. And you could just do something in seated to expand the heart. Once you're up, lift the chin away from the chest and find this nice hovering place. We'll take another breath and then consider what you would like to do as far as lifting the legs. If you're on the block, you can just lift the legs for Viparita Karani. So that might look, if you need to look up, but don't look if you're already down on the mat. You need to come off of having your, you don't want to have your neck compromised here. So if you're using the block to lift up, maybe it looks like this. And again, you can be on the lower side. You don't even need the block. But if you're doing the full Viparita Karani, the hands are supporting the hips when you lift up. I know that some of you do shoulder stand, and you're very welcome to. I'm just not, excuse me, I'm just not teaching that right this second. I like to have about 2 or 3 blankets for shoulder stand to protect the neck. Now, having said that, lift the chin away so that you recreate the cervical curve and find your upside down Ujjayi breath.